Hello lovely people and welcome back to another video. First of all, thank you so much for the support. It's been amazing. We're going to keep up the grind for you lot. And yes, all producers subscribe, new content coming the way, and also studio session content coming soon as well. But anyway, today's video is going to be a complete step-by-step guide on how to make a beat for beginners. A guy left a comment on one of my recent videos saying how much the video helped him despite the fact that I left out some arrangement. So what I'm going to do today is make a very concise, informative and high-level video for all of you new producers out there who want to learn beat making and want to know kind of how to get started. So the video is going to be quite simple. If you guys enjoy it, then leave a bunch of comments, leave a bunch of likes and subscribe, you know, all that good stuff, and tell me how much it helped you. Then I will make a full step-by-step guide, like an hour-long video going through the full process, explaining absolutely everything and cooking up a beat completely live. So, yep, let's hop into our program and let's get into it. So first of all, what you guys want to do is open up FL Studio. This is the program that you'll be using to make the beat, or at least you'll follow on for this tutorial. So in order to download FL Studio, you just go to their website, hit download, and you can get the free version where you can make beats, you just can't save them and open them again. So make sure you complete your beat in one sitting, or of course if you want to save the beat, then purchase the full version. But yes, you'll notice instantly as soon as you open it, it looks exactly like this. Now here you have your channel rack. As you can see, and this is where you put your sounds in to basically play them within the beat. So first of all, you'll notice there's some default sounds here. So you have the 808 kick, things like that, and you can use that as you please. So the first thing I would recommend doing is altering the tempo. So I like to go in the 140 range for trap beats, also for UK rap or things like that as well, or UK drill. It's just up to you really. So you can click the button up here to turn on the metronome and pick a tempo that you like. Of course, if you up this, it will up the speed of the metronome. As you can see, but I would recommend going to the 140 range or maybe 144. It doesn't really matter. So now you know kind of the basics of tempo setting. I would recommend right-clicking on one of the sounds and replacing it with a sound that you're going to use for your beat, right? A lot of beats use pianos and it's a safe bet when you're starting out. So what I would do is go up and click FL Keys, which is the default Fruity Loop keys preset. And here you'll be greeted by the VST. Now it has been loaded, you can exit out of this, you can right click and go piano roll. And this is where you will actually start playing your notes. So what you want to do to set the scale is go up here, go to view, go scale highlighting, and here you can select your scale. Of course, if you want a dark beat, you would go in a minor scale, and if you want a happy beat, typically you would go in a major scale, although both can sound dark or happy depending on how you structure your beat. So for this beat, we're going to be going in B minor. Then you can simply click in the notes, like so, and you will hear them playing. So let's make a simple chord progression. So we're going to start off with a B minor chord, which looks like this. And what we're doing to know that we're in scale and to know that the notes are going to sound right, we're just looking at the light grey notes. As you can see, there's dark grey here and light grey here. You want to go for the light grey ones as this is in the scale you're looking for. So that is a B minor chord. And we can start playing around. Again, we want to make sure we're staying in scale. So if we wanted to do another chord, we can just, again, follow the same pattern. Clicking the grey notes, and let's hear how this sounds. And then we can go up. And then I think up again. It all comes down to ear and what exactly you want your melody to sound like. And we can even make it interesting by, instead of just completing the melody there, we can make this one shorter. To highlight it, we are holding Control and holding left click. So we're doing this and then we're just dragging. And let's go down one. Still staying within scale. And there we go, we have a very simple melody. Now in order to make it interesting, what we can do is we can hold Control, left click, get the middle note and control an up arrow, and what this will do is it will transpose the note up one octave, so it will give the melody more wideness. right? Because currently it sounds quite thin. If you're listening with headphones, you'll notice there's not a lot of frequencies, it's just kind of sitting in the mids. If we do this, it will sit in the mids and the highs. Okay, perfect. So now we have a very simple chord progression. In order to make it sound more unique, we can click this magnetic up here, we can click none, and what we can do is just hold control and scroll and zoom in a little bit, and just move these slightly just to make them a bit more off-grid. And this will give the melody a natural strummed feel, which you actually want, because think about it, if you're playing the piano, it's not going to be perfectly on-grid, is it? You're never going to play perfectly on tempo, even if you're like Stevie Wonder or something. So yeah, let's just make everything off-grid and make sure it loops properly just by shortening these notes. So let's hear how that sounds. Perfect. Now what we can do is we can control and press the A key to highlight everything. We can click this wrench icon and we can click randomize. Now here, we're going to randomize the velocity of the notes, because just like we're not going to play anything completely on grid, we're also not going to play anything at the exact same volume level, or the exact same hardness or velocity. So, what we're going to do is play around with this knob until we like the sound. So that sounds a lot more natural. You can also play with the pan as well if you want, but I'm going to keep that in the center for now and press accept. And this will apply the effects. So as you probably heard, the melody has a decent amount of range now, however I think it's still missing some high end. So what we can do is set the magnet back to main and we can start playing some higher notes just to give the melody a bit more range. So again, we're just going to stay in scale and we're just going to click till we find something that sounds good. Okay, so now we've got a very simple top line. We can again highlight everything, and let's do the randomize button again just to randomize the top line as well. So there we go, we have a very simple top line. It's nothing special, but again we're keeping it super simple for today's video. Now what we can do is mess around with the sound. So you would have noticed when you click on your preset by clicking here, you actually notice there's different presets up here, so I think we're going to go for a dark piano. We're in a minor scale, we want it to sound dark. And as you can see, it gives the melody a different vibe. Now you're probably thinking, well this sounds decent, but we want extra layers. So what we can do is we can right click, go replace, and let's bring up Flex. Flex is a free plugin. All you have to do is click free up here and you can download their packs for free. But yes, if we go to packs, we can download some and we can find some stuff that sounds good or that would fit our vibe. So typically with a piano, with a dark beat, you would take some strings, you would take a pad, but it really depends on the vibe you're going for. I think for this beat, we're going to take some strings. So I'm going to go essential strings and let's just find something that we like. I think this violin sounds good. And we're just going to follow the chords that we originally created. Like so. And this just widens the melody. So as you can hear, it's sounding a lot more full. And if we actually look at the EQ, so if we route it all to a mixer track and look at the EQ, you can see the melody's taking up a lot of the mid-range, a bit of high-end and a bit of bass, which is exactly what you want. And now I think we just need something to bring it all together, which would be a lead. So again, we can just open up Flex, and we can get whatever instrument we want. I think a flute on this would sound nice, so we're just going to scroll down until we find the flute preset. And let's add a lead. Now a lead is something that is very catchy and plays all the time. Or can do anyway. Okay, so yes, we've got the flute. Again, it's very simple, and you saw the time lapse of me doing that. You know, it took a while to do, and I wanted to show that because no one's perfect, you know. I'm not saying that I'm a professional or anything, I'm just giving you some tips here, and I want to make it clear that we're all on the same path here, you know. I'm trying to make it as relatable as possible and show you that I can't do it very quick either, and if you can't, that's okay. So yes. So now we've got three elements. We have the piano, which acts as the foundation of the melody. We have the strings to layer to give the melody more width, and we have the lead. So now what I'm going to do is, you see these numbers on the side? I'm just going to root them. So I'm going to hold left click and drag down and put them all onto number 1. Then if I double click here, I'll be taken to the insert where I can add the equalizer, and I'm just going to remove the bass. This is so we have room for the bass that we're going to add. So now we can actually move on to the drums. So what I'm going to do is go to the left hand side and get some sounds that I've downloaded. Now in order to pull these into FL Studio, you just need to go up to Options, File Settings, and select the directory where you installed your pack. You can get these off of the internet. So let's choose some sounds that sound very crispy and are mixed nicely. Like this, you can hear it kind of, you can hear it over the melody, right? So let's right click and fill each 2-step. Now to get the sound there, you just hold left click and drag, like so. We can hear that sounds very crisp. Then we're going to get a clap. I quite like this clap. It's a Lil Uzi Vert one, so we held left click and just dragged it in, and typically the clap is played every note like so, just here, and that sounds like this. And to make the clap hit, we're going to click on the sound, we're going to press this button here to pre-computed effects, and we're just going to turn up the boost. Now in order to hear the gain from the boost, we're going to have to turn the limiter off from the master. So to do that, we just go to the mixer, select master, and just disable the limiter. So let's get an accent snare, which will just act as an accent to the clap. So let's grab one like this, hold left click, drag it in, and just pop these wherever you feel like it. And again, we can boost it by going pre-computed effects, just boosting it. Perfect. Now I think we can go on to the 808s. Now, there are some very important tips about 808s, but first of all, let's pick one. I'm going to go with this simple Spins 808. So first of all, you want to right click it and click Cut Itself. What this will do is mean that each note isn't blending into each other. If you don't have this off, if you're playing two 808s next to each other, before they finish playing, they're basically going to blend into each other and layer on top of each other and sound horrible. So just make sure to tick Cut Itself. Then click on the sound, go to this graph button here, and turn down everything except the hold. What this will do is mean that the 808 will only play for as long as you specify in the piano roll. For example, if I just play this note, it will simply just play that note, whereas before it would have played the whole 808 regardless of how long you selected the note to be. So just make sure that is done that as well. Now for the 808, you guys need to make sure they're in key, okay? You can't just press this, because that, my friends, is out of key. Now, the reason that is out of key is because when you select something in here, that's always going to play in C. However, we played the chords in B then G, then A, then D, then C sharp. And that means that because these are the root notes of the melody, we need to also put the 808s on these notes when they're played. So, let me teach you and show you how this works. So let's say we were to put the note on E, for example. Let's pitch it up to hear how it sounds. You can hear that just doesn't sound right. It takes a while to develop this ear, but that sounds very out of key to me. But we know where this is, because the actual root note of the chord is B. So if we put it on B instead, we can hear that sounds much better, because guess what? It's in key. Then we can simply just follow the root note of the melody, and we can obviously make some variations. So let's chop this one a bit. Okay, so by simply just following the root notes of the chords and then just placing the 808s in those positions, but of course making sure that they only play for, as long as they should. So here, for example, we need to move that back just to ensure that the 808 is never out of key. So let's hear how it sounds. Let's move this too. So everything is in key. Now to make your 808 slap harder, you can go back to the piano roll, and at the bottom this is the velocity, so we can up that fully. Perfect. And now let's just say the beat is done. Of course we can add things like kicks, we can add more perks, or we can add open hats if you really want to, but that's up to you really where you place them. So in terms of the arrangement, what you want to do is grab the pattern, drag it out like so, right click up here, and do split by channel. This will just split all of the elements into their separate elements basically. So like this, as you can see, these are all the different elements we've just added. So let's go to the song up here and listen. Okay, perfect. Then what we can do actually is we can just mess around with the arrangements. So first of all, I'm going to hold Control, hold left click, and just Control B this a lot of times. So what this will do is just send it out across the channel, and simply we can just arrange the beat exactly how we want to. So first of all, I would recommend removing all of the drums from the intro. And then bring in the claps and the hi-hat. And it really depends how long you want the hook to be. Usually I do the intro, then I do the hook, and then depending on how long I want the hook to be, it would either be across here, or it would just be this section here, a very short hook. So in order to distinguish between a hook and a verse, what you would do is just take out some elements. So for example, let's say this section here is the hook, right? In order to make the verse sound, more unique, we would remove the flute probably, and let's just remove the dark piano as well. Same thing from here. Then second part of the verse, add the flute back. And then simply we can just repeat. Go back to here, but we can remove the violin. And repeat. So that is very simply how to make a beat. Now the beat was super duper simple. You could also add other elements like sound effects, risers and stuff to make the beat drop sound a bit harder. You can add a lot of other elements, but this is just the bare bones basic, very quick tutorial on how to make a beat. Of course I just made this very, very simple and not perfect, just for the purpose of this video to teach you, how to drag in sounds, things like that, and certain things to consider when making a beat. And of course, it is up to you how you make the beat. Don't follow exactly what I've done there. You can mess around with the arrangement, be unique, don't be like me, or don't just follow this tutorial for verbatim, because there's a million different ways of doing things. This is just the general process I would follow, but again, the beat is super simple, just so you guys can follow along. And I'm going to give you another example of a different beat that I'm a lot more proud of, where I've applied the exact same techniques, but it's just a more advanced version. So yes, I cooked up this beat earlier. As you can see, the arrangement is a bit more dramatic, but the only things that I've changed is just made the hook slightly longer. As you can see here, the hook would be this instead of just 1 bar or whatever it may be. And then yeah, the elements are a tad bit longer, but that's it. You can see there's a differentiation between the intro, it's very, very simple. Then the verse has more elements, the hook has more elements, then the second part of the hook has even more elements, and then it quietens down from the verse, goes to the bridge, and just loops. So as you can see, the process is very much the same. We started off by doing our chords or melody. Making sure to stay in scale, we're in B minor. As you can see, we followed all of the light grey notes. Yes, but we have just kind of followed a similar sort of process. First of all, we started with our main melody acting as the chords. It's quite a wide sound, so therefore we don't need to put too many elements on it. Then we have gone with a lead, which, in our case before, was a flute, but this time it is just a saw, so it sounds like this. Or a sine wave, sorry. Which, to be honest, serves a very similar purpose to the flute. It's just, more catchy, a bit more advanced, but again, we're still sticking in the scale. There's nothing out of the ordinary there. It's following the exact same process. And then, yeah, we've just gone in with the drums and added an extra lead, which just acts as a texture. So again, just by following that simple structure, you can make something very, very cool. But yes, please experiment and, yeah, just try your best. And always make sure with your 808s to follow the root note, okay? Because otherwise they will sound off. And again, let's do a demonstration of what out of key 808 sound like, just so you can train your ear. So this is what it sounds like out of key. Absolutely horrible. And this is what it sounds like in key. As you can hear, it just sounds right. And we've added some more sound effects. So this is just a riser to make the drop hit harder. And a crash. But other than that, the process we followed was similar, right? So I hope this inspired you a little bit. Sorry the video was a bit all over the place. There wasn't a script for this one. I wanted it to be unique, realistic, and almost relatable, because I know when you're first starting out you have no clue what you're doing. So I thought if the video was a bit more rough around the edges, then it would inspire more people and make you realise that these industry producers are just people at the end of the day. They're doing nothing special. They've just got years of experience. But yeah, you can get there too. Anyway, I hope this was useful, and stay tuned for tomorrow's video. It's going to be a good one. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.